so you know before
All right, cool.
the time was there, and I hit the button
worries.
just as you started to talk. So
Oh, it's all good. I had to run out and grab something. I'm running a little bit behind tonight. So, Doug, how are you?
It just means you can't talk bad about Scott. That's all.
That's right. Well, I can talk bad about Scott. It's okay.
Good evening out there in Spray Wash land. Good evening. Good evening. So Ray and I were being the Bopsy twins, so I changed shirts just so we weren't the Bopsy twins.
That's right. Yeah, that wasn't even planned. So
that wasn't planned. Yeah.
Well, how was your awesome Monday? Good.
I'll plead the fifth and just say I'd rather not discuss Monday.
It was a Monday, huh?
It was a Monday. There you go. But I guess it was actually better than Sunday, or was it? I don't really know.
I just saw a notification that it's Pat. And I knew it was Pat's birthday because I did a little happy birthday to Pat thing. Really aggravating that he's only 36 years old and has the level of success that he has. That's really
30. I think he told me today he's 34.
Oh,
is it 36?
Well, the thing said it's his 36th birthday. So yeah.
I thought he said 34, but yeah. I told him when I talked to him on the phone today, I said, you know, you're still a kid, so you know.
No.
But yeah, it's amazing the success he has had at his age.
Mm-hmm. Oh, good evening, everyone. Hope all is well. We got a ton of people in the house waiting on us already. Love it.
Jumping in.
Oh, man.
In the Christmas week adventure.
I'm trying to figure out.
Christmas week already.
It is Christmas week. It's crazy. It seemed like, 5 weeks ago, I was like, oh, it's Thanksgiving. It's going to be great. I can really get into the Christmas spirit. And now that I'm not technically working all the time and I've blinked and all of a sudden it's here again. It's like, what in the hell happened? One more time.
Yeah. It's like it just, man, I got to start thinking about taxes and all that kind of stuff. Hoping that I've paid enough and I don't owe too much.
The time, Jacob said the time change subtracts 2 years. It does. I swear, every time it happens, the older I get, the harder it is to adjust to time change.
It's not only that though. If you think about it, it seems like when I was a younger man, and they would do the time change, it seemed like it actually did kind of fit. The night and the day, it kind of worked, but it's like the sun's different now, and it makes absolutely no sense nowadays when you look at it and you say, okay, it's 6 o'clock in the evening, it's pitch black outside. I mean, and then in the morning, it's 5 o'clock in the morning or 4 o'clock in the morning, it's daylight out. You're like, yeah, they shouldn't be doing it because they originally did this for the farmers. Well, I don't think that's really needed now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You really don't, and I tell you, this whole thing, like getting, so I guess the other's daylight savings time and this is regular time. The regular time sucks. I would much rather have it, being later because it's horrible. It's just awful.
Yeah, it's stupid.
Mitchell.
So are we on regular time or are we on daylight time?
Yeah, so it's we're on regular time. That's what Wild West is confirming
here.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he's right. After 21, nothing matters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, who was to get up earlier? Jacob's flapping his gums about something. No idea.
So who has the choice in what time they get up?
What's that?
Who has the choice in what time they get up?
I haven't had that choice in years. So
my
I get up when I get up. Yep.
Yeah, it just turns on, and I'm like, hey, dude, go back to sleep. Doesn't work that way.
You're freezing gutters, but you're not getting snow up there. I saw a forecast of there wasn't going to be a whole lot of people with white Christmases this year. It's a little bit of stuff up there around the Great Lakes. We've got, I guess you've been in this for the last couple of days, but we're getting your big glob over in our area now. So.
Oh, yeah. It really didn't. It was more of a drizzle all day today. It wasn't
Kind of
really
what it did for the most part to us as well. I was a little shocked because they were talking about, we could be getting a couple of inches of rain, which is weird for us at this time of the year. But
yeah,
I don't see it. I don't see it with the weight that we're having. So,
well, I decided on Saturday to not hire a professional because I'm semi-retired and I got the time, and so I'm putting a roof on the carport of a building that I own, and I'm hurting. But I'm like, okay, well, I'll save $4,000 if I just do it myself.
Right.
And then I'm thinking to myself, I always say about hiring professionals, but the difference is I truly have the time, and I like doing that kind of stuff, and I'm occupying myself, but my body's still hurting. So there's that.
The Pat told Ray was 36, Doug's 34. Jacob's still not making any sense. So 55 degrees on Christmas, West Virginia. Yeah, Michael, we're the same way up here. Just it's been drizzling for 6 or 8 hours up here. So even got a little bit last night. So earlier this week, over the weekend, I saw David Carroll came out with a little saying it kind of lit some people up and probably butt hurt some people. And it was kind of funny because there is a post.
It must have been the truth. If it butt hurt people, it must have been the truth.
It was. There's a post going around that a bunch of people are sitting here liking and sharing about. Oh, it's hard to be a small business person and blah 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 blah. And you feel for me and pity for me, and I think the gist of David's message was, suck it up, Buttercup. Don't ever ask people to feel sorry for you for being an entrepreneur, because especially at this day and age, you can haul out and go open whatever business you want to open. You don't have to, because you can get paid a handsome sum of money on a salary somewhere.
Yeah. There are a lot of decent paying companies out there with benefits and everything.
And there's nothing wrong with it. I'm not saying I'm not saying, there's anything wrong with doing that, because if that's where you feel like you need to be, then go do it. There's no shame in it, because entrepreneurship is not for everybody. But, the benefits you do get is you get to do your own schedule. You get to make as much as you want to make, or as little as you want to make. And there is some want in there as well. That, you get to write your own hours. You get to go on vacation when you want to. You get to burden the stress, and you get to literally make the choice that I'm going to succeed based on the person that's looking at that camera right there, and not, other factors. Because if you want to succeed, you will succeed, in this.
Off topic here. How hard do you think it is to succeed in business, Ray?
By whose definition, yours or other?
By your definition, how hard?
I would say it's actually by your own goal. By your own goals, it's probably a lot harder than it is by other people's goals.
For you, how do you think for you that it's hard to succeed in business?
I think that it's hard to succeed in business. No, I don't.
And that's where I'm at. I was hoping that was going to be your answer.
Yeah. No, I don't. I mean, but here's where I'm going with that is that, like, if you were to tell me, okay, Ray, and you have, I mean, we both know everybody, each other's story, but, you're saying, Ray, I'm doing $800,000 a year. And I'm like, Doug, that's amazing. I'm proud of you. That's incredible. And you're like, yeah, I'm still, by my definition of success, you're definitely succeeding. You're definitely succeeding. But you might be unhappy with that success, going, I really want to be at the $1 million a year. I think sometimes we are our own worst critics in here,
And I think that's part of what makes us a success.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Ryan saying whenever all hell freezes over in the Northeast, he goes in and does some interior painting jobs to keep busy. Yeah, that's actually one of the things we're going to be talking about tonight,
But notice what he does there. He doesn't end it,
Yeah.
right? He says that he keeps on going, doing marketing and whatever else it was that he said. I lost it. Relationship building. He said something along those lines, right? So he doesn't stop, even though he stopped.
Yeah. MTH is saying, it's hard because he makes it hard. Lazy about stuff still need to tighten it up quick. 100%. Barry Shields, Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas.
So I shared that message to support that guy, and nobody got it, and I had to explain. I'm tough. I love it. So, Ryan's, I can't handle all the freedom. Ironically, a lot of people can't handle all that freedom, and that's a
so
huge
true.
failure point with a lot of guys. They can't handle all the money, and they can't handle all the freedom. They forget about the bills. They get a stack of hundreds in their hands. Well, look how much I got paid. No, you got paid 20% of that. The other 80% is going towards taxes, maintenance, insurance, rent, supplies, blah, 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 blah. Mm-hmm.
Or they just flat don't know how to handle the actual success of it.
Yeah.
Even though it's the money, they got time, they got this, and they don't know what to do with themselves or what to do with moving themselves forward at that point.
Mm-hmm. Full-time jobs getting in the way of washing. Yep. And absolutely, you do you do have to be self-critical. You absolutely do. You need to be constantly working on yourself, defining yourself, sharpening yourself. I mean, you need to be doing, steel sharpens steel. You gotta.
Pat and I were talking today about, we were talking about classes and sales classes and that kind of thing.
West, I'm the same way. Man, I can't handle painting.
And that goes along with this where, Pat's going to teach things differently than you are, and you're going to teach things differently than I am, and I'm going to teach things differently than Pat is, and, and whoever else. And those are all the things that help make us in business. And we have to be the ones to make that determination of where are we going? What are we doing? How are we doing? And the success and failure that comes along with that. And being able to realize that the other person, even though they're less experienced, more experienced, whatever, has something to offer to the conversation. Even if it's on a negative side, you take it and figure out what was negative about it and make it work to your benefit. That's what you got to do.
Yeah, agreed. Off topic. Absolutely. We'll be in Orlando January 9 and 11. I will be. I think
I'm going to be in Philadelphia, Mississippi.
You're playing poker, right?
I'm playing poker.
But yeah, I will definitely be there. Corey Christie, yeah. Trust me. Do the rehab. I know that shoulder. I know that surgery all too well. Working on marketing, continuing education, 100%. And 100% Toastmasters. Yep. You see a lot of Rocket City, same way. Ain't gonna catch me behind a paintbrush. But you see a lot of guys with more experience on here. Is you realize there is no downtime on it. You're always working. You're always marketing, and especially at this time of the year, because that's one of the things that Doug and I wanted to talk about tonight. At this time of the year, you may not have immediate results on your marketing. You absolutely 100% may not have immediate results. In fact, I even dare say that you're not have it because of the time of the year.
But you're not advertising or marketing for today.
Right.
You're advertising and marketing for tomorrow.
100%. I mean, there's mute. There we go. Maybe I can make this thing stop beeping every time somebody. There we go. And one of the stories that I wanted to tell, because, and again, and this is part of the lead in on here. We're also starting to see the posts in a lot of the different groups about, oh, my phone's not ringing. Oh, it's what I've only done 5 or 6 jobs, this month. I can't make a living doing it. I can't do this. And I'm sure the established guys are like, well, yeah, I can, but this isn't to the established guys. This is to the new guys.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to kind of wait till I bring it back full circle before you can critique this. But, you know, if the business isn't there, there's Ecclesiastes. We'll get back into Ecclesiastes in a minute. But there is a time and a season for business. If I wanted to go catch a cobia today, and I went and got live eels and a nice 2-ounce jig, and I went to every channel marker between St. Mark's to St. George Island and stopped and pitched at every one, I would almost guarantee you, no, in fact, I'm going to go as far, unless there's some kind of bizarre rogue fish, I will guarantee you I will not catch a cobia, because cobia are not in season at this point. Cobia are not in these waters at this point. The cobia run over here is from March until August is when cobia appear in these waters. And it doesn't matter if I've got the best boat, the best tackle, the best rod, the best guide, and the best bait. I'm not going to catch something that's not there. Same way with washing. If I'm trying to capture, and stay as busy as I am in August, it's not going to happen in December if you're just a regular residential washer. And this is where I meant I had to come full circle, because there's a lot of us older guys that went into the commercial cleaning as well. And we know that really December can be one of your busiest months. Best month. It really can be. But if you're the guy that's starting out, or you're the guy that's only doing if you're only doing the residential type cleaning, it can be a tough time to sit there and do it, because let's face it, when the Christmas lights go up, the exterior cleaning calls stop. People are focusing on a different thing. There's decorations up. And I'm not saying you're not going to get the calls, because you may get some. You may get, oh my God, we're having a party. We're going to do it outside, or the porches are awful. Please, I need an emergency. That's also one of the, the nice things about this time of the year. If somebody calls you between Thanksgiving to December, November to December, you better jump all over that call and service them crazy, because ain't nobody kicking tires at this time of the year. They're calling Absolutely. Because they need a damn service done.
And they need it now.
Yeah, bingo.
Yeah.
Your wife is screaming at them, on the other side of that phone, going, I can't believe you expect us to have a party and the house looks this awful. The deck is this bad, or something like that. So they're the most profitable and the most serious callers that you'll get all year.
And, one of the things as veterans that we have to remember is that when that phone rings, and because I know a lot of guys that they'll stop answering the phone because, hey, this is my good commercial time. This is that. Look, for me, the way I schedule things out for December, it's a time when I can send guys out to do virtually any job that they want to do on the commercial side, and I'm not tied down to certain dates. And so when that phone rings, and it's a residential client, man, I would still jump all over that, because now you're not only, to me, business is not about today. It is always about tomorrow.
Correct.
And by answering that call and going and doing that rush job, where, Ray screwed up because Tanya came in and said, hey, I want this now. And Ray gets to be the hero because he gets it now. He's going to remember what company he used.
Absolutely. Yep. Wild West is, he talks about don't fall into analysis paralysis. It is very real. I see that with guys with machines all the time. And what should I do? And how should I market my company? It is better to do something than it is to sit there and be thinking about, you can sit there and think about what you're going to do forever. But just, you've got to get in motion and start doing stuff. Looks like, Mitch is just started doing epoxy floor, stupid, easy, great winter work for us. Yeah, and think about this, guys. There's, especially if you're new in this business and saying, oh my gosh, my business, I'm not getting a lot of business. I'm not as busy as I want to be. That's one of the reasons that people hang Christmas lights, that they do epoxy floor painting. That it's why we actually started hood cleaning years ago. Was okay.
I don't care if you go out and you run an Uber. I mean, if that's what you got to do to feed your family through the slim times, just remember that when next year heats up, and you need to start preparing for the winter months. You need to build that bank account preparing for those winter months. Now everybody's gonna be saying, "Oh, Doug said go out and work for Uber."
But in the last 5 years, though, I mean, our December business, I mean, was just off the chain. So if you keep working it and doing what you got to do to keep marketing your business, it will come. I truly believe it will come. Tommy,
and if it doesn't come, you need to look at why.
Yep. Are you going to circle back, Jen?
That's Jacob Dahile. You don't know.
New guy. I don't know who this is because it just says Facebook user. But yeah, don't give up. More scheduled this month than I did the whole year of 2017. I mean, our old company will have a 6-figure, December, which is just
insane when you think about it.
And part of that is for a large, you will have entities that are based in a commercial year that have leftover budgets they need to spend. We used to always keep, we would even go into a December pretty light several years ago, and it started making us realize that we need to keep that week between Christmas and New Year's open, because invariably we would have one of our large institutions call and say, we got to get this done before the calendar year begins, or at least get the POs out for it or something, or can you do it then? And we hosed ourselves a lot of times because we told our guys, that was Daniel Howerton that was busier this time than all of 2017. But, tell the guys, take between Christmas and New Year's off. And then all of a sudden it was like, wait a minute. Yeah, no, I can't do your $8,000, 2-day project because
I got no employees. So I want to go back and I want to address that one, Ray. Let me go back to that for just a second. I've been missing a lot of work due to being scheduled out so far. Just schedule yourself out further. I mean that seriously. You can punch I don't know which one you would put on, Ray. So, but look, and I mean that intently and seriously. I mean, there was a point in time where we actually booked out 4 months. 4 months. I'm still beside I don't agree with that. I shouldn't be doing that, but I did, and I was booked. So even though you're booked out, just book yourself out further. If they don't want to wait for you, that's okay as well. But they know, and my customers became trained to know, and they would call me up. Hey, I know it's March 3rd, and I'm trying to get in before March. Is that going to be possible, or do I need to wait until April? They got trained over the years they knew that we were busy because we were good.
Yep. We would always put some stuff in there we call it SRT on the calendar, strategic reserve time, because you knew stuff would come in there, and you'd leave it kind of blocked out in areas because you knew you would need stuff to fill in, and you would have customers. And whenever you get the customers like that with the emergencies, you have to prioritize those emergencies and take care of those guys, from good customers. Or if you have somebody that has an emergency and you think they're going to be a good customer, put their emergency up there as a priority on there, and now all of a sudden they become a good customer,
that's like for us, believe it or not, we never scheduled Fridays. And a couple of weeks ago, maybe 6 weeks ago, I went in and I was talking with the new owner, and they're in the same boat. They still do not, because we set that up. And even though we never schedule a Friday at all, ever, they're always booked. They're always full. The guys, every truck is out doing what it's supposed to be doing, because we're making up for stuff that happened during the week, or that strategic reserve time where people I need it right now. I need this. I need that. It always works out. I mean, part of that is, I'm going to say, faith. I mean, we just know it's good. We don't have to schedule that day. It's going to schedule itself.
here's a great, and Daniel just messaged me back and he reminded me of something. And you and I have talked about this because it was from a network that you and I used to be a part of, that I think you and I disagreed with the person in charge of that a great deal, because he used to say, well, if you're booked out 2 weeks, you need to add another truck, which I think is actually absolutely 100% horrible advice.
Insanity
to take on those expenses and stuff if you're only 2 weeks booked out. What you need to do is figure out how to maximize that one truck, because you should be doing between $200,000 to $300,000 per truck on there. That would be the maximum running of that truck. Then start adding stuff up. But you need to prove consistently that you're going to be 2 weeks booked out for a long period of time before you start taking on those added things. Here's a great comment right here. Haven't stopped working, selling, advertising, etc. since I've started my business. We're booked out 8 weeks and have 73 residential commercial jobs on the schedule next year for repeat business. Not trying to brag, but I don't understand why some of my competitors don't have much or any work. Are they not hustling constantly? No.
I know the answer. They don't answer their damn phone. This is an absolutely, it's an awesome comment. I wish I knew exactly who it was. I actually have a guess. I think I know who that is, but and not, you know what impresses me the most about this comment though? Look at what he's saying. We are now booked out 8 weeks and have 73 residential and commercial jobs on the schedule next year for repeat business. So it's an actual quantifiable number, 73. I know exactly where I'm at. I know exactly how much I have. I know exactly. So he's got the stuff in place to know exactly where he's at. I think that's awesome. And that's the signs of true business.
Yep. And I'm actually looking. I'm going in some of the. We're all. It's. I can't see who did that.
We're so far behind on comments. Sorry.
Yeah, we really are. I can't see who's just. Sorry, it may be distracted. But Chet, you are hustling constantly. You are, treating your business like a business. Then on the other hand, you have Barry. Barry started a business late in life and stuff. Got to remind myself of living another timeline and enjoy the ride.
Yeah.
Jim
and Barry's one of those guys, just like all of us. We all have our stories, and he's had his challenges and stuff. And he rises above and takes the challenge, head on. So,
but and so nowadays, back in the old days, old days of 8 years ago, there was, you could go really 2 different places and get a skid. 2 different well-known places and get a skid.
Right.
AC Locker had a skid. Power Wash Store had skids.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know of other people, and I'm sure there was somebody else doing a little something out there.
I
don't mean to insult them, and this is not picking on anybody in that respect. But I knew of AC Locker had skids. You had to be a part of Soft Wash Systems to do that. And then Paul Cassander with Power Wash Store popularized the drop-in truck skids.
Mm-hmm.
And this is even back before the proportioner stuff. We had to work and try to jigger a mix tank in there, because you still had to have 3 tanks, instead of just 2 tanks. But what's happened now with and this is going back to the user who's saying, are they not hustling constantly? What's happened now is there's so many more people there's many more places to get
skids
equipment at this point, and trailers and things. And I mean, there's that. The Leon Johns is out there doing it. Cody Yarborough is out there doing it. And I'm not saying these names. Michael Henderleiter is now doing skids. And I'm not saying this to pick on, to call them out, anything like that. I'm just laying out the obvious.
There's lots of places to get skids.
There's lots more places to get equipment. Look at how many people are making knockoff proportioners at this point. I mean,
knockoff soaps, dude.
Knockoff soaps at this point.
Again,
and I'm not saying you're a bad person for doing it. I'm just saying, look how many places there are out there doing it. So the one thing that most of these places have is they're more than happy to sell you an equipment, and they're more than happy to tell you how easy it is to do it and how easy it is to make a great living doing that. However, I dare say this, that very few of those people that are selling that equipment have ever actually made the business that they're saying that they've never run the business that they're saying that you can do.
Mm-hmm.
And they're selling equipment now instead of running. They either shut their business down or they're still washing part-time. They didn't sell their business. They didn't have like an unsolicited somebody come in there, hey dude, I want to buy your, you got a rockin' freaking,
you got a rockin' business
here.
when you buy that.
I want to buy it. So there's a lot of guys, and I mean, it's just they sit there and tell you, oh yeah, you can do that $1 million a year. You can do this. I mean, there's a group out there teaching it right now. Everybody's saying, oh, you can do $1 million a year washing. And I don't think anybody in that group has ever come close to doing $1 million in a year, at least not from what I've seen. I know most of the people in the group don't even wash, you know. Mm-hmm. And again, not trying to.
I think we're off
I'm
of
not saying this to insult any of those guys. I'm just being really, really, really practical. There's so many people getting into this business because there's so many people, more people selling the equipment out here and selling the stuff. This is coming from a guy that's literally opening.
I was just getting ready to say, and you're getting ready to start selling.
You know, let's go in full disclosure. You want a skid? Come see me. I'll sell you one. But you also can be guaranteed that the guy that sold you that skid, if you buy it, he has actually run a $1 million a year pressure washing business. So
I'm not going to mention the name of the company, but I actually had more than one, less than 5. I'll let you figure out whatever number it is in between there. Guys that bought skids from a very specific group, and I would get phone calls. Dude, I bought this skid from this place, and I don't have a clue how to use it. Can you come show me? And I'm like, well, why would I do that? Number one, though I did help out lots of guys in my area, even though I knew they were competitors. Right. But number two, I'm like, well, you paid how much for that skid and he didn't show you how to use it? You don't have like an instruction manual? You don't have something that tells you how to operate it? Mm-hmm. This is a well-known skid thing. Yeah. You know, so
you know, Michael's bringing up a great point here. Paver sealing filled the gaps is now a feature product. A lot of us have started on things like this where we've added a little side service to it,
and it grew,
and it became literally a monster in itself. To where, I mean, there's multi-million-dollar paver sealing companies that really just specialize in paver sealing. That doesn't mean they can't do a cherry house wash if they want to a little bit later or, you know, during the season, but they've really done very well with their little side services. Gutter cleaning, those guys that specialize in only gutter clean.
Think about it. There are companies out there, just what you said, that only do gutters and will do $1 million a year. There are companies out there that only do windows, do $1 million a year. There are guys out there that only do house washing. They can do $1 million a year. There's companies out there getting into this epoxy table stuff, $1 million. Virtually any business, if you put forth that effort and that grind, really.
I mean, I love this, rolling out a maiden cleaning service. I'm going to upsell exterior cleaning windows and gutters. I mean, how wonderful to have something that dovetails into
hand in hand.
You know, perfect.
And that's where, you know, this whole thing is supposed to be about the season. And, you know, this is, it doesn't, not all places is this a seasonal business, but for the most part, this is a seasonal business, virtually all of the United States.
Well, it can be, but I mean, there's a lot of guys.
We have to consider it a seasonal business because we're really slow December, January, and February.
But there's a lot of guys that are even running, though, in the seasonal, but they still have to get out and wash and work. I mean, I've seen way too many pictures of people washing with snow on the ground, and they've got the maintenance contracts, and they're doing stuff. And I mean, and else, go ahead and, you know, you wait for a day where it's 32 degrees and your equipment isn't freezing up, you know, and you slap the Agent Green in there to boost up your bleach in cold weather. And, you know, you go to town, but, you know, because sometimes these annual contracts won't wait.
There is a business out there for you guys that are up in the cold northern states when there is no snow. And this is going to sound stupid, and it actually is, but it can actually make money. And that is making snow with your pressure washer. Yeah. Think about it. If it's cold enough, I was able to do it here in Louisiana one year. And if somebody wants snow in their front yard, why not go offer to go shoot water in the air for a half hour and make some snow for
Yeah,
them?
it's really not Pat Clark. I know he did the thing. We did it here one day.
Mm-hmm. It's even a good marketing tool.
Yeah, it is. It is. You could advertise snow parties for kids, winter wonderland parties and things,
Hopefully
and let's face it, we're not getting a ton of snow down in Louisiana and South Georgia and North Florida and things like that. But this year it's been, but that might be a great market to have in December, January, February in these. Mm-hmm. Tommy made a good point there. He's got a lot of options to keep himself busy because it's his business, and he's got to work harder when we're not moonlighting as part-timers. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Yeah. 28th, 29th, doing an aerospace complex. Nice. Very nice. April booked out, but nothing until then. Yeah. And Jim Bob's one of these that does, he and James do a lot of the HOA stuff. And then somebody earlier had mentioned, I saw it.
But Jim's going to do more. I mean, he will do stuff. He's going to
snowplow. He's a beast.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Here's Dale, one of the Facebook users. Recommended a competitor because the customer wanted it done in 2 weeks. This is, again, why we should be friends and make nice and talk to people, on there. And because you never know where business is going to come from. I've gotten business from such strange places. And also, like in my market, I mean, we send out more referrals than a lot of companies make in a year. I'm not trying to be and arrogant by saying that, but whenever Tanya and I had spray wash, we sent out a lot of referrals that we just absolutely could not get to,
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna skip to this one way down here. I mean, this is exactly it. Thinking outside the box, and Dave made a comment a little bit earlier, but dryer vent cleaning kept me alive in the first few winters. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you just got to think about other things that are within that same market, that same realm, right? Because it's seasonal, and this time of year it gets really slow. But that doesn't mean that your mortgage stops. It doesn't mean that your rent stops. It doesn't mean that you don't have to fill your tank up with gas this month. You still have to have an income in a lot of cases, especially if you haven't put that reserves to the side to be able to carry yourself.
But what does that Dave guy know? What is
Dave doesn't know much. He knows how to drum, from what I hear.
Yeah.
Drum.
He says.
Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't know squat about pressure washing. What's he only doing? Like, about what is that? Is that one contract that he has? Is
the one contract is $6 million or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah. What the hell does he know? And that was Dale that actually did the kid that knew the count. He was saying, where did it go?
It's way up there.
Anyway, it was Dale. This is Dale, and he counted, how many jobs on the calendar for next year. Absolutely. TOMA, top of mind awareness. For anybody that's not familiar with that acronym right there, you never know when people will want your service, but if you keep up the advertising, you will be top of mind. They have their triggering event. Henny, get the house washed. You'll also gain market share during industry slow time, 100%. But at the same time, I like that. I schedule from Friday backwards, gives me time to market and think. But here's something I want to go though with the top of mind awareness. You can't buy your way into a market, and by all means you can create the top of mind awareness, but you can't buy yourself into a market by just doing this ridiculous ad spend when times get slow. Because one, if you don't have the money, but that's also the difference, Denny, between marketing and advertising. Marketing is an all over ownership of the market type thing and the little things we do. Advertising would typically do to one Facebook ad or one, a YouTube thing or one Google ad, where marketing is taking your whole advertising dollars plus
wrapping it all up into one.
What you're doing here and putting it into a marketing strategy, not just running an ad. I was talking to someone, one of my local guys was like, well, man, I'm advertising like crazy. I'm not getting traction. I was like, let me guess. And he was one of those guys that's listened to the YouTube gurus that have literally never run the business. They're telling you they can teach you how to make $1 million a year, but none of them have done it. He specifically came from one of these. It's why he got into the industry. Mm-hmm. And I was like, let me guess. I said, you're doing Facebook ads, right? Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I was like, and you're doing 10% off, aren't you? Oh my God, have you seen my ad? I was like, no.
No.
Well, how'd you know?
Know what it is that you're doing.
I was like, how'd you know? I said, because every freaking body else does that. Everybody else is doing that. You've got to find a way to just differentiate yourself. And all that you're doing, if you go and just try to outspend people, is you're just getting more and more behind. Like right now, I would still be doing Facebook ads in a small way. I would not be increasing my spend on it because, again, the majority of the people that you're trying to get aren't thinking about house washing right now. Now, if you're a commercial guy, it's a little different story.
Did you see that somebody is calling you out on here?
No, who?
I'm gonna highlight it. I mean,
it happens all the time.
You're being called out. Actually, and then I'm gonna go to this one because Miss Tanya and her butterfly marketing and all that. Why have we not had her on? Why have we not had?
You should ask her. She doesn't listen to me.
All right, I'm gonna have to work on that. I'll look up her number and I'll see if I can't get in touch with her.
Same exact thing happens with professors, doctors that cannot make it in the real world, end up teaching in medical schools. Yeah. Agreed. I mean, there's a lot of guys. Mm-hmm. Dave, I guarantee you people don't really understand what it takes to do $1 million a year. Mm-hmm. I promise you they don't. They have it's a cool sounding number, but they don't understand actually what that means. I mean, that they don't understand the math that goes behind that. We need to go do that math class one.
And there's a lot of logistics in that people don't understand and they don't get. And
there's a lot of moving parts to doing $1 million a year.
Absolutely. Dave, let me ask you this: how much equipment maintenance do you do? I mean, and the reality is, and some of it, I know for me, and as I'm asking Dave how much equipment maintenance he does, I can tell you I was going to say I didn't do much equipment maintenance because I would just buy new, but that's not true. Every single day I was out doing some sort of maintenance or having maintenance done because that you have to. You got too much happening. And, when you start getting into when I look at this and I start hearing about, the cost of soaps or the cost of the proportioner or the cost of this or the cost of that, in my mind immediately goes to the cost of not being able to get a job done. Right. So I want the better equipment and I want the better soaps and I want the better, I want to deal with people that know what they're doing and what they're talking about so that it saves me money because it saves me so much time. And time to me is absolutely money, period. End of the day. How many times have you gotten a call about, how do you rebuild this pump? I've said, I can't even count how many times. I don't rebuild pumps. I just buy another one. Well, what if it only lasted 3 months? Great. It made me several $1,000. I'm buying another pump.
Woo!
Yeah.
Put the party hat on and snatch it off the truck.
Yeah. I guarantee you Dave has more parts sitting on the shelf as well because you got to have them.
Because, your downtime kills you. I mean, you sit there and you have a spare booster pump. You have a spare 12 volt or two. You have this and that, We used to literally take our booster pumps and I'd get them from Gould's. I'd rip them out of the box and I'd go ahead and put unions on the input and the output so that whatever the guys had, they invariably, hey, Ray, the booster's messing up. Okay, I could go and literally drive by, toss a booster out the window at them. They could still have it changed out, in 5 minutes because I gotta take the advice of Wild West and start working backwards because I can't keep up with all the comments. We have to start at the bottom and work our way back up. Mm-hmm. Yep. I was just sitting there doing, so $1 million a year. And again, it sounds amazing, but you're at, at $1 million a year, you're no longer washing that much as you're administrating. You are washing whenever your guys don't show up. You're having to play, backup, and you're having to play crew leader. You're having to make sure it gets done, because really and truly, honestly, unless you've got an amazingly priced, job, that $1 million a year, when we said, we've got, $200,000 to $300,000 a truck. So if you do that math, that's going to be between 3 to 5 trucks is what that $1 million a year is doing. If you're running them efficiently and right, you're going to have backups for those vehicles. I mean, it's not just, you're not going out there and doing that yourself, unless, again, never say never, but never. But so if you're washing houses at $250 a pop, it seems like what a lot of the guys who want to dream big are, and they're doing this, and they're kind of low on there. But at $250 a pop, you realize that's 4,000 houses a year. 4,000 houses a year. So that works out to 333 houses per month. Let's see, divide that by 4. If there's 4 weeks in a month, it's 83 houses a week. And a 5-day week, divided by 5, it's 16 houses a day.
I can do that.
Yeah.
By myself.
Yeah. Realistically, yeah.
Yeah.
These
are dog houses. These are dog houses all at the dog house, right?
Like in a neighborhood, if they're all lined up perfectly and we're just washing the house, it's kind of crazy. Exactly. I like that. Show them tax returns if you want to give advice. James, I've been preaching that for years, buddy. I have always said, hey, if you're trying to sell a class, if you're trying to do something, I may not give you my tax returns, but at minimum, you should be able to go to QuickBooks Online and pull up a business pro forma, pull up a profit and loss statement out there, and actually say, yes, this is what I've done. In fact, I've challenged a couple of guys to do it online, and nobody's ever taken me up on it. So
if I pulled up my pro forma from this month, then nobody would ever hire us.
Mine too, brother.
Yeah. And it's nice, I got to tell you.
Nice. Scrap metal, 8-ton trailer. There you go.
Absolutely.
A lot of guys do that. January, load up, drive down to Florida for a month of work to get me by. I know several people that come to Florida.
Jim Bob is one of those guys that I admire on that front. He has so many little irons in the fire that he can keep himself busy during the winter months or any other given point in time if he needs to, because he's got little things where he can pull out and do. He's got a skill set that's kind of all over the place, other than driving. Although he might be able to drive a month.
Well, he does a little plowing, he does a little of everything, Like I said, what Mitch was just saying, load up, head south. It's another reason to make friends with people in the industry. And because there's a lot of Florida washers. Now, I've always had people say, hey, can I come to Tallahassee? Well, Tallahassee's a small town. We're only 250,000 people. But Tampa, Clearwater, Jacksonville, Miami, my God, those places are great.
I would even say if you're going to be in that line, you should consider maybe even asking one of the guys down in Florida, hey, can I come and work with you from all of December and all of January? I'll get a hotel, whatever, and I'll work for you for a minimum wage or whatever, just enough to pay my hotels, just to learn and to expand your horizons a little bit. But
yeah, use the red tip. We got the outlaw shirts on tonight. Lordy, I can't believe
I had my outlaw shirt on, but I saw us as the Bobsey twins, so I switched. James isn't looking for the added competition.
There you go. Yeah, you don't need one person to give you $1 million. All you need is $1 million to give you $1.
That's it.
Yep. 100%.
Or if your average ticket is $1,000, well, then you only need,
Yeah, and the cost of them, and that's another good one to talk about. To build a $1 million plus a season. And what you've got to do is create repeatable things where you've got to get out there and streamline it and create repeatable occurrences, repeatable training, repeatable equipment, repeatable, just everything needs to just be a carbon copy and keep going. So
I like what Ryan is saying there too, by the way.
Yeah.
The cost of employees, turnover, the maintenance, customer acquisition. You have to keep going, keep building, because you're not going to keep the same employees the entire time. It's just not going to happen. You can get some good, loyal employees. I mean, that's a fact. And that's all about the building the relationships with the employees, not just with the customers. Treat them right and they'll stay.
I have a little question about that AR unit. So you mean like the Comet gas pumps? Is that what we're talking about? Are we talking about Anthony or Murray, the AR pressure washer pump? I always get a little confused on there. You know, a lot of us call them either Udors or gas roof pumps.
I think he's talking about the Comet pump, but I'm not sure either.
I had two, and I took them off my machine because my employees honestly had a hard time using them.
Well, aren't those the ones that had the triangle thing that kept breaking?
Yeah, the Comet is a hexagon. The Udor is a triangle,
right, okay.
And they're amazing pumps. I will say this though, and I see the videos of the guys that like those very much. And there's one guy in particular, I see him washing all the time. He does zero plant protection, and he likes to shoot. He likes to shoot roofs from the ground and show off the pump. I don't see how maybe he's not showing you the aftermath of it, but I guarantee you that dude's out there killing some serious landscaping and causing some major problems and is slinging 30% on places that it doesn't need to be slung.
And I've seen that video of somebody that, you know, there's not even a ground guy there. I mean, there's no way you're not frying stuff. It's just not, it's not possible to do that with a roof mix and hit those plants like that and not have problems with that.
I honestly think, now don't get me wrong though, on the other hand, for rinsing, those pumps are amazing, you know, but now for application, you better go real weak because it slings out a lot of sauce. David, my target date is sometime in January. Tanya has to talk about this because I promised we'd make the announcement together, but we, half the lease is signed as of this point. So, boom.
And hopefully the other half will get signed shortly.
And I love, that now the seller has to just sign theirs. Those pumpers they're too powerful in reality. In some ways they are. And what I found is that my employees would, kind of like a lot of the things, the Pro Switch, so many things are made where if you're using it yourself, amazing. But whenever you give it to an employee to use, they just don't do it like they should necessarily, you know. And my guys would never
they're not going to treat it like you're going to treat it.
They would never prime the air out of the pump properly, and that would cause leaks and splits, and it would cause an issue. But I'll tell you what, they are a rinsing son of a gun. And in a perfect world, like for some of the larger properties, the bigger buildings we do, the bigger commercial without much landscaping, they are beasts on that, you know. Yeah, and here's another one. You know, if you're a one-man outfit, you know, you'll probably be fast with it. So, you know, you don't have the employees screwing it up. You know, there is no one perfect pump. Understand that. There's not a perfect skid. There's not a perfect pump. There's not a perfect system. We just kind of have to use you find. Also, what I love, you may hate. What you hate, I might love. I mean, it's kind of crazy. I would say if you have the commercial for that, it's probably a worthwhile investment. And yeah, what Ryan just says, if it explodes on an asphalt driveway, you're in huge problems. You know, I've never had one of those things start leaking or one of the triangles split in a convenient area. It's always,
You know, I used to run accumulators on the 12-volt pumps, and there were a few occasions, more than a few, 6 times probably, where the accumulator just would develop a leak in it somewhere. It's why we actually quit using accumulators. And, you know, I can tell you they never, just like that, they never do it in a convenient spot.
Yeah.
I had one time, you know, the door to the truck, we would leave the door open where the pump is at, and the accumulator sprung a leak, and man, it was shooting stuff way out, and it's like a fan out into the grass.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, I've actually literally seen those things that have like the little pen holes out there.
Yep.
And literally shooting like it couldn't shoot back on the driveway or back onto the truck. It would literally shoot like in the most inconvenient area. Oh yeah, 100%. Let's see here, 25,000 square foot in. Oh, nice, good job, James. 25,000 square foot roof in 2 days. You've been humping it, son.
That's it.
Updates in Orlando, absolutely, 9th through the 11th. In Orlando, go to powerwashstore.com to register, free class. We would love to have you there. Mike Lewitz, Profit First guy, is going to be there.
I know who's not going to be there.
I know you're not going to be there. Keep reminding us of all. Yep.
Sorry. No, I'm looking for
so many good speakers on there. Well, actually, should have the itinerary out here pretty well. In fact, hold on, let me see.
I think he's got the itinerary out already.
Does he? Because he actually emailed it. Let's talk about it here.
Well, you look it up.
Okay, Sander. God, I've got emails on this machine going back.
You guys have to put your hair up and start the show singing the Island Boys song.
Island Boy, yeah.
That would be epic.
No, that's what's wrong with America is we make stupid people famous.
That's it. We should make a water pump out of the Wankel rotary engine.
I am not familiar with that one, so. Okay, what do we have here? We've got Deco coming out. This is for the January Power Wash Store Vendor Showcase. All right.
And again, before you go into that, let's talk about what the vendor showcase is. It is vendors. Yeah. Vendors coming out to discuss their equipment, like the vendors, meaning Udor. Udor sends out their rep to talk to you about their equipment. If you have issues or you have praises or whatever, things that, hey, this would be a good idea, this is the place to go, because it is the vendors themselves that are going to be at the show or have their representatives at the show.
Yep. Jim's saying it's on his website, but since I have you guys here, I'll go ahead and we got Aaron Ritchie talking about brick cleaning. I mean, Aaron knows his brick cleaning. Everett Abrams doing wood restoration. We've got the shingle, the asphalt shingle restorer. That's now going to be a product that we're carrying at Power Wash stores. Mm-hmm. They're going to be offering a training there at that. Let's see.
And that's
here.
like the Roof Max stuff, right?
Yeah, I believe so. For similar thing, and I don't know, exactly. Steve Hill's going to be getting into fleet washing. Steve, to this day, Steve owns Power Wash Store in Tupelo, Mississippi, but Steve knows his fleet washing in and out. He still, to this day, does fleet washing. Nick Weissner talking about window cleaning.
That's one of the most brilliant things about Paul and about the Power Wash Store franchise. Excuse me. Almost all of the franchise owners have their own specialty, their own niche, their own thing that they do. And so when I get those phone calls and I just had it, 2 weeks ago, I get them somewhat regular, but 2 weeks ago, specifically Steve Hill, about the fleet washing. And I'm like, Steve is your guy, man. So get your stuff from Steve, get all your knowledge from Steve on fleet washing, get your gear from Steve for fleet washing, because that's what he does. He knows it.
Yeah. Anthony, find it at powerwashstore.com. We're at Power Wash Store. There we go.
Hey, we'll upload it at the Spray Wash Academy as well. Well, let me rephrase that. Ray is going to upload it at the Spray Wash Academy. See how I threw you under the bus?
I'll toss it on there. But so powerwashstore.com, you can find it. I mean, we've got the guy from Nilfisk coming in. I mean, Nilfisk is pretty, you think they know a little bit about it.
They got a lot of equipment.
Yeah. PCI Manufacturing talking about ball valves. We've got, you know, the guys from PWS Nashville talking about recovery and environmental stuff. We've got Sutner coming in and teaching a class about, you know, guns, nozzles, foamers. You think Sutner knows a thing or two about that?
Sutner might know a thing or two about that.
You know, Eric Seitz is talking about skid and truck design. Good Lord, you know, I mean, how can you not? Eric Seitz, y'all seen what he's doing. Who's this guy? Tim.
He has put out one of the most amazing rigs. I mean, I love his rig.
He's sick in his stuff.
And Eric is also the one that built the trailer for the PWNA.
Yeah, the PWNA trailer, and that trailer, the training trailer, will be there as well. We were talking about the diaphragm pumps earlier. Somebody was talking about the AR pumps, the diaphragm. Comet will actually be here talking about diaphragm pumps. So, I tell you what, I mean, that's who you need to learn from diaphragm pumps about. Yeah, I've used them, but the people that make them, they're probably a really good one to talk to.
Yeah, they probably.
Michael Draper is there doing the OSHA 1910 certification. Power Wash Store is paying for that for you. You get a free.
You know, the one thing that makes me think of something, you know, just because it is a vendor showcase, it doesn't mean that the vendors always send people that know what they're talking about. But Paul's shows, the vendors that come out know what they're talking about. And the reason I'm going that direction, Ray, you remember when we went to the World of Concrete and that guy was talking to us about the surface cleaner?
Yeah.
And how it, what was it? God, I can't remember anymore. What was the deal with that surface cleaner?
He was telling us how do you run this. We were asking him what kind of machine you run it from or something, and he literally had no idea about what it needs to hook up to. It's like, because Doug and I are sitting there as pressure washers going,
"You're absolutely wrong."
Yeah. You could not be more wrong in what you're telling us, you know.
And it took us a while to get through to him that he had no clue what he was talking about. He knew that he had no clue what he was talking about, but he couldn't give up because he was there as the rep for the company. Right. I don't think you're going to see anything like that at the Power Wash Store event because they know that they're dealing with these people. They're not going to send a rep out there that has no clue. So if you want to find out about Sutner guns and, you know, things that are coming out with Sutner, that's going to be the show to go to.
Patrick Clark's doing a sales boost there. He'll be there. Brandon Vaughn's coming. You know, talking about Conquer, doing a 2-hour Conquer class on it. David Durama with his, I mean, you want to talk about, you know, SOPs and procedures? The guy that literally wrote the book on it, you know?
And it's a pretty good book.
Oh, Spray Wash Academy will be there with plant and property protection. We'll be doing an intro to that. We're not doing the full thing, but we're going to give you a good primer on it. So yeah, pretty amazing. Company with the roof restoration. Crap. And I just closed it. Let me find.
Are you talking about roof packs?
Yeah, you said it was. And Sutner's talking about new and improved components and accessories. Let me go back and find.
You're talking about on the schedule.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. My bad.
All right. What was the? So I was asking who the company is that's doing that. New Top Restorer is that company. And now I can't. Are you there, Doug? I can't. There it is. Okay.
Yep. I should, one of these days, I'm going to mess with you, and I'm just going to be like, every now and then, everybody freezes up.
Absolutely. The hypnosis roller pumps. I have used a roller pump time or two. I was not impressed with them. I know what you mean. So
yeah.
What is this that they're don't want to be a window licker? I don't blame you. Jacob Deal does that. And look where he is.
Look at him.
Do I have to?
Scary.
It's horrible. But and going back, and I know we've literally just gotten completely sidetracked, like we usually do, but it's been a good conversation. But going back to this, so again, you want to always. I'm never saying stop. I'm never saying stop marketing. You should always be. You should even be marketing when you're
busy.
Slow.
Don't matter.
That's actually a huge mistake that people make. That's a huge mistake that people make. Oh, I'm busy. I don't need to spend this money. Well, you still need to maintain your presence out there. And they got, and Gene's right. Got to be careful with roof coating in Florida. Need a roof contractor license. Yeah. To really touch just about any part of a roof except for cleaning in Florida, you got it. Builders can't even, like a certified general contractor can't even put his own roof on his house in Florida. You have to have a roofer's license. There's been so many shysters that are coming here in hurricanes that they have overregulated the roofing industry to the.
And what's funny is most of the contractors in Louisiana that come for the roofing stuff are coming out of Florida.
Yeah. we said, hey, Charlie, hope you're doing well, buddy. Hope your awesome family is doing good too. So, yep. So there you go. Jim Bob's saying, even though they're booked for April, they'll start getting the word out in March. Yeah, that's what you have to do. So you don't let your foot off the gas whenever you're busy, but at the same time, there's no need to floor it whenever you're not busy.
Always keep a little something out there.
Yeah, always keep a little something out there, but don't sit there and think that I'm going to go spend $3,000 on Facebook ads in December and it's going to change your fortunes, because I'll almost promise you it's not going to. You're just going to waste a lot of money and get further in the hole.
I highlighted this one because of something Ray said to me. Wild West, I tell you, I don't know that when I was working 100 hours a week that I was as tired as I am nowadays. But even Ray said it when I was over visiting him, last week before. And that is, when you sell your company, you become that semi-retired person, whatever you do, you just become relaxed. There's something about it that, I seem to be more tired a lot of times. And I've never, ever in my life been able to just sit and take a nap on the couch. And I've done that probably 10 times since I've retired and semi-retired, I want to mention. But, there is a peaceful thing that comes along with that. So,
and I got to get my, let me get the NK, because that's the one that we're most familiar with. New King James Version.
Yes, James. I get naps now. I used to not even be able to take them, except when I was in my truck. I had to be able to take a nap in my truck.
Even God said it, taking, the Bible as God's word on there. To everything there is a season, a time for every purpose under heaven, a time to be born, time to die, time to plant, time to pluck what is planted, a time to kill, a time to heal, time to break down, and a time to build up, a time to weep, a time to laugh, a time to mourn, and a time to dance, a time to cast away stones, and a time to gather stones, a time to embrace, and a time to refrain from embracing. It's literally in the Bible. There's a time for it. There's a time to reap. There's a time to sow. You're not going to be sowing in December if you're just doing the residential stuff. I mean, understand that's why you see so many successful guys out there who may have started out with a small,
nothing.
With nothing or small company that eventually graduate on either to commercial work or large residential companies where they can now take 2 or 3 months off and say, done with it, don't care for a few months. And they're actually not even worried about a side gig to make money come in, because this is another thing too, that a lot of really successful northern companies figure out early on, you either figure it out or you starve, that I don't have 12 months to make a living. I've got 9 months to make a living, because of that 9 months, I'm going to save a little 30% extra for the 3 months that I'm not going to work.
And you have to do that. You have to set that aside. I mean, it's something that we talk about, we preach on a regular basis, you know, setting a little bit aside from every single job to plan for that wintertime job, or to plan for, hey, look, a guy I love out there, Chris Coonsey, you know, and his breaking of his ankle thing. You know, I mean, it's not something you can plan for, so plan for it, right?
Yeah.
Start setting something aside and have that side kitty going for you. And I know I've said it probably a dozen times on here now. My side kitty was my credit card processing, right? So I had a separate deal that all my credit card processing went through. And when it got to a certain amount, I took that amount out and I paid it on something. And I did something with that money that would be better for us or for the future or for whatever, or held it to the side in case something happened.
Our PayPal was the same way. We would never empty out our PayPal. And all of a sudden, you're like, holy shit, there's an extra $25,000, $30,000 in the PayPal. Sweet, you know, from you know, cool. So a couple of things. Wild West, hey, thank you for the wishes, and Merry Christmas to you and your family as well. I don't know if we'll be back on Thursday night or not. I know we've been a little bit shady on the Thursday nights.
Yeah.
And we're getting just before Christmas. I cannot commit to it. I don't know. Yeah. I'm sorry. Rocket City, thank you so much. Yeah, I love what Gene is saying. You know, please continue not to return those calls or do estimates on those big jobs when you're busy. It made us an extra $100,000 this year. 100%.
That's exactly it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yep. I mean, I got to admit, in my market, I love the same thing. I mean, when people would say, "Well, you answered the phone," yeah, and well, we called 3 people before we called you. You're the only one to answer the phone.
Only one to call me back.
Boom, got the job.
I love to sit there. I love to sit there and think about how incredible, you know, our marketing was. But honestly, there was a lot of it that got done by just answering the damn phone. AD, you know.
An office person totally pays for themselves. I mean, just in the answering of the phone. Period.
Sort of standing decks and fences. Incredible how much you can make. Yeah, 100%. You know.
And if y'all didn't see the post on there, American Soft Wash Alliance is they got something worked out. You know, about getting your phones answered. Just saying.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and if you've not looked that up, go to James. If you're on here, drop the
link.
Drop the link here in the comments and we'll post it up. That American Soft Wash Alliance, pretty cool stuff they're working on. Let's see here. Let me see what Steven's saying. First, plan enough work for winter to keep your crews around. 100%, Steven. That is a great point right there. Because, you know, I'm taking it for granted. Doug would take it for granted as well about, you know, you understand. Well, although, I mean, you're one of the guys in Tallahassee who does work year round now. There's still a lot of guys in Tallahassee that they don't have enough work to keep the guys.
There is no work in Tallahassee in January. It doesn't exist, right?
Doesn't, not at all.
No.
Nothing.
Yeah.
You know.
You gotta make that work happen sometime. You know, it's out there. It's out there all year round. Even in the snowy areas, there's work that you can do.
Like we saw several people say here tonight. I mean, some people said December's their busiest, you know, one of their busiest months of the year. And I'm going to go and break this out because I love talking about the numbers. And I need to go into House Call Pro. And I think now I can probably do this, you know, a lot more safely than I could, you know, while I was in a contract. But to go in there and break out the numbers. I was even showing Taylor today. I was kind of doing a little counseling. Who's our general manager for Crystal Clean, and was doing some you know, counseling with him. And I said, look, here's because there was about $40,000 in business coming in and purchase orders that they were trying to figure out when they should put it. And I said, look, should you try to make it happen in January? No, because another thing that happens in January is you'll have people that get budgets freed up who are on calendar years, not on physical years, and they've needed to get something done, but they've spent all their money. January 1 comes, and it's amazing how good our Januaries look. Whenever I go into my old House Call Pro and QuickBooks and follow it, my slowest months of the year, typically speaking, are February and August. I guess that's opposite. February and August right there. Because February, people are paying off Christmas bills. They don't have a lot of extra money, especially a lot of the consumers, the residentials that we're dealing with. January tends to spike up because of people getting the new budgets coming out on January 1, the commercial work on there. August, it's just so freaking hot in here. Also, the families are sending their kids back to school. Now, there's a caveat to the August, is that we do typically get very busy with our universities getting last minute projects in before the kids get back into school. And in fact, if it wasn't for those projects, I would shudder to think about how bad August would actually be for us. But residentially, people are getting in the last bit of their summer vacations before school starts. They're buying clothes for the kids. They're getting the kids back to school, and their schedules are changing. They're not worried about getting their houses washed.
When you look at this one here that Gene's saying, if I was in a colder climate, which I will never be, but I bet you could offer your customers a good discount if they will wait until winter and create enough business to keep your crews busy through the winter. So think about that, because it's something that we've talked about in the past before, right? If you're in the middle of your busy season, it's April or May, and you've got somebody trying to beat you up on price. I don't negotiate on price, right? But what I could say is, well, if you're willing to wait until December when we're slow, be happy to do that for you. I can be a little bit more negotiable at that time of year, because I'm just looking to keep guys busy and not lose money through that time of the year, kind of a thing. So there are times where you can take those jobs where they just don't seem to make it and move them into those winter slower months and keep your crews busy, keep money coming in, keep everybody happy, customers happy, even though you don't want to take that lowered number. You got no business anyhow, take it.
Yeah. And again, I still want to go back to the Stephen Harp. I mean, 100%, and I didn't even think about this. It's one of the things that, I guess you take for granted at this point. But you're right. Keep your guys busy. Keep them. Find a way to keep them around so you don't have to go and recreate the wheel and retrain these guys.
The only point on that, Ray, that I might say is this goes back to a conversation I had with Brandon Vaughn long time ago, and that boiled down to employees and the mindset of the employee nowadays, and I think it's the advantage. I think I've shared this before. I think it was the advantage that Brandon actually kind of had, and that you guys up in the northern states actually have, in that he would take all of his employees and basically lay them off for 3 months, right? You're gone for 3 months. And then he would make them reapply at when it was time to get busy again. So he'd hire like 30 people in a week, but it seems to me in today's day and age, we get a lot of guys that when you look at their resume, they worked at one job for a year, then they went to another job for 6 months, then another job for a year, then another job for 8 months, and then another job for a year and a quarter. They like that change, and they'll have 2 and 3 months in between their resumes. So I feel like that might be something that actually worked for him, and that they got that time off and they could go and recalibrate themselves and come back and do again.
Mm-hmm.
I don't agree with that philosophy, but
yeah, but it may work. I mean, that's again, everything works, nothing doesn't.
Right.
I mean, we're very regional. Things work in one area. It doesn't work, and there you go too. You're keeping the equipment thawed out. That's a chore.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you will never have Gene O'Neill and I up there competing with you, brother.
Yeah, you're on your own.
Well, Doug, we have wasted another almost hour and a half of these people's lives one more time. So I sure appreciate everybody's involvement.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's true. Ryan's right, though. Unemployment doesn't help when you want to get a car or apartment or lines of credit. That's true.
If we are not on by then, Merry Christmas, y'all. I feel so blessed to have y'all here with us. And I just want to say Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and may 2022 be a super blessed year for y'all.
Absolutely, because I mean, I can't tell you how much we really are, kind of like a little family here. And I know we get, a ton of people. And I may not realize that people see this thing, a year later from now, they'll listen to the rebroadcast of it. I mean, some of these things, the numbers are absolutely shocking how many times they've been replayed. I want to go back to doesn't help when, what Ryan's saying, dealt with it for years, had to progress in life. But he's talking about, laying people off, trying to keep the people on full time because it helps them as well on there. But we really appreciate you guys. We appreciate you guys hanging in here with us on Monday nights. We may see you Thursday. We may not. God bless all of you. I mean, just from the bottom of our hearts, thank you so much for taking a little time out of your life to hang out and listen to two doddering old men
that are unemployed.
Yeah.
Hey, one thing real quick before you sign off.
Yes, sir.
I had mentioned the class that we've got coming out that is on self-storage facilities. It is done, but not done. So it is still coming. It's still going to end up being free to pro members. I had said it would be free for the month of December. We're going to take care of the pro members. But I wanted you to know it is coming. Promise it's happening.
Awesome. 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 Sounds good. All right, guys, y'all be well. And we'll see y'all soon. Thank y'all.
Take care.